Okay, let's dive in. Ever thought about how past actions, like really past actions, could manifest? Maybe not quite as a 250-mile-long flaming snake spirit.
Hey, probably not quite like that, no. But that's the core of the story we're exploring today, this Ajagarapeta.
Exactly. You shared these fascinating texts, the Ajagarapetavatthu, in Pali and Thai, and we're going deep into this, well, frankly, pretty terrifying tale.
It really is. And our aim today is to unpack the story behind this specific spirit, this Peta, understand the why and how of its existence.
And crucially, we need to be super clear from the start. This Ajagarapeta, this fiery serpent being, it's the result of a thief's past life.
That's the key point. The sources are very specific. The suffering belongs to the one who committed the harmful acts.
Right. Sumagala, the other main figure here, he's actually the virtuous one in this narrative. So we'll look at the vision, the Buddha's explanation, the thief's actions versus Sumagala's.
And of course, the karmic fallout. It's a story with incredibly vivid imagery.
Definitely. Let's start with that first sighting. It's quite
Okay.
dramatic.
So you have the venerable Mahamoggallana, one of the Buddha's chief disciples, famous for his psychic powers.
Right. Him and the venerable Laka are coming down Mount Gijaku of Vulture Peak.
And Mahamoggallana just stops. He sees something.
Something huge. The texts say this Ajagarapeta was 25 yojanas long.
Yeah, and a yojana. Interpretations vary, but maybe 10 miles. So we're talking, what, 250 miles, approximately?
250 miles.
Yeah.
That scale is just hard to grasp.
It really is. And then there's the fire, flames erupting from its head, going all the way down its body, looping back. A continuous, agonizing burn.
Just awful.
Hmm.
But Mahamoggallana's reaction is interesting, isn't it?
It is. He sees this horrifying sight, and the text says he smiles.
Miles. Which, makes you pause. What's going on there?
Exactly. Lacan asks him, naturally, why the smile?
But Mahamoggallana says, basically, not now. Ask me later when we're with the Buddha.
Building the suspense. He knows the Buddha has the deeper insight, the full story.
Right, it pulls you in. What could possibly lead to a smile in that situation?
And indeed, when they get to the Buddha and recount the vision,
The Buddha confirms it. He says essentially, yes, I saw that too.
and not just saw it, but saw it way back at the Bodhi tree, right after his enlightenment.
Wow. So he knew about this being all along. Why didn't he mention it?
Well, his explanation is quite practical, really. He says he held back because people might not have believed him. Such an extreme sight,
Without a witness, it might sound unbelievable.
Precisely. But now, with Mahamoggallana, a highly respected disciple, confirming it independently.
The time was right. And the monks, the bhikkhus, they wanted to know the backstory.
Understandably. What did this being do to end up like that? That's the natural question.
And that leads us back, way back to the time of the Kassapa Buddha.
A previous Buddha age. And there we meet Sumagala. He's described as a sihi, a wealthy householder known for his generosity.
A very virtuous guy. The texts emphasize this. He performs this incredible act of merit building a monastery.
And not just any monastery. He spends a fortune, literally described as the value of land covered by gold bricks piled high, an immense sum.
Plus, he funds the whole dedication ceremony. So clearly, a very devout and generous person.
No question. Then contrast this with the thief.
Right. Sumagala encounters him near the city gate one day. The thief is lying down, hidden under a monk's robe, a kaya robe,
Trying to look pious, basically, but his feet are muddy.
and Sumagala, being observant, clocks it. He says something like, looks like someone's been out doing some night work, thieving perhaps?
Just an observation, but it hits a nerve, and the thief is furious.
Instantly enraged, he feels seen, exposed, and immediately vows revenge against Sumagala.
And this isn't just an idle threat. It's the start of a campaign of destruction.
A relentless one. 7 times he burns Sumagala's fields. 7 times he harms his cattle. 7 times he burns down his houses.
Just pure malice escalating over and over. But even that's not enough for him.
No. He gets cunning. He decides to find out what Sumagala cherishes most.
So he pretends to be friendly with Sumagala's attendant, worms his way in.
And learns that the most precious thing to Sumagala is the Gantakuti, the dwelling place built for the Kassapa Buddha within that monastery.
The very heart of Sumagala's great offering. And that becomes the thief's target.
He waits until the Buddha is out on his alms round. Then he goes in, smashes the water pots.
Sets the Gandakuti on fire. An act of pure sacrilege and hatred.
Just devastating. But Sumagala's reaction. This is where the story takes a turn you don't expect.
It's astonishing. He hears the Gandakuti is burning, rushes over.
Sees This structure, built with so much devotion and wealth, going up in flames,
And he claps his hands joyfully.
joyfully. People around him are understandably confused. Why are you happy about this?
And his explanation is incredible. He says something like, "Ah, wonderful, because of my past merit, I now have another chance to make a great offering."
He's genuinely delighted at the opportunity to spend more money rebuilding it for the Buddha.
It shows such profound detachment, such unwavering faith. It's hard to fathom, really.
While the thief is consumed by hate, Sumagala sees only an opportunity for more good deeds.
Exactly. And he follows through. He rebuilds the Gantakudi, spending the same huge sum again.
And then makes another massive offering to Kassapa Buddha and 20,000 monks. Just continuous generosity.
Meanwhile, the thief sees all this, and his hatred just intensifies. He thinks, this isn't enough. I need to kill him.
So for 7 days, while Sumagala is making these offerings, the thief is lurking around with a knife, trying to find a chance to murder him.
But he fails. He can't get close, or the opportunity doesn't arise.
Then, after the 7 days of almsgiving are over, Sumagala goes to the Buddha.
And he tells Kassapa Buddha everything this man has done, the fields, the cattle, the houses, the Gantakudi.
You expect him to be asking for justice, maybe? But no.
Quite the opposite. He tells the Buddha, I want to dedicate the very first share of the merit from this huge donation I just made to him.
To the thief, the one who caused all the destruction.
This act of pure, selfless generosity, it finally breaks through the thief's hatred.
He hears about it, and the texts say he's just overwhelmed with remorse, like the weight of his own actions hits him, contrasted with Sumagala's goodness.
That level of compassion is transformative. He realizes how wrong he's been.
So he goes to Sumagala, throws himself at his feet, confesses everything, begs for forgiveness.
He even offers himself and his family as slaves to Sumagala.
But Sumagala just forgives him, freely, and refuses the offer of servitude.
Yeah, he recognizes the thief is still, let's say, volatile, and just tells him to leave in peace. Amazing grace.
Incredible forgiveness, but, and this is crucial, forgiveness doesn't erase karma, does it?
Not according to these texts, no. The consequences of those actions, driven by such intense hatred, still had to ripen.
So when the thief's life eventually ended,
He was reborn in a Vici hell, which in Buddhist cosmology is about as bad as it gets, a realm of intense suffering for extremely heavy negative karma.
he spent a long, long time there, suffering the direct results of burning the fields, the houses, harming the animals, and especially burning the Gantakudi.
And even after that immense period in hell, there was still some karmic residue left over from his malice,
Which led to his rebirth on Mount Gishaku.
as the Ajagarapetavatthu. That massive, fiery snake spirit seen by Mahamoggallana, still burning from the consequences of actions performed lifetimes ago.
It really hammers home the idea of cause and effect, doesn't it? Actions have long-lasting ripples.
Absolutely. And this led directly to the teaching Kassapa Buddha gave,
Right, he used this story as a lesson for the monks.
explaining how someone acting out of ignorance, a fool, commits harmful deeds without realizing the inevitable result.
But later, they suffered intensely from those very deeds, like one burned by fire.
He even recited a specific verse, the Gatha, Atapapani kamani karabalo nabujati, se kamehi tumedo Ajagarapetavatthu.
And the commentary explains Nabujati means not realizing the karmic payback because of ignorance. Sehikamehi means by their own actions. And Dubadho, the one with bad wisdom, suffers intensely.
The suffering comes from within, from one's own past choices and actions.
And the impact of this teaching.
It was profound. The texts say many listeners attained stream entry, so tapati, that first stage of enlightenment, and other spiritual fruits right then and there.
So, wrapping this up, the core takeaway from this deep dive is crystal clear. The Ajagarapetavatthu wasn't some random monster.
No, its form and suffering were the direct karmic inheritance of the thief, fueled by his anger and destructive acts against the virtuous Sumagala.
And the contrast is just so stark. The thief's path of escalating malice versus Sumangala's unwavering generosity and, maybe most impressively, his forgiveness.
Sumagala really stands out as a model of resilience and positive qualities in the face of extreme adversity.
It definitely leaves you thinking, doesn't it? What does this ancient story tell us today about the echoes of our own actions, good and bad?
And perhaps more practically, how can we cultivate those Sumagala-like qualities, that patience, that generosity, that willingness to forgive, even when it's incredibly difficult?
Yeah. How do we stop the cycle of reactivity and choose a different path? Definitely something worth reflecting on from these powerful old texts.